hero maximum. On the ground, down the ground, another hero maximum.
Righto, let's do it. A very happy panel on today for the Maximum Cricket Podcast. This is your first World Cup special episode, courtesy of our wonderful Patreons. The Blackcaps are now the best team in the world by the biggest of margins. They have demolished the defending champions England by 9 wickets, chasing down 282 with 14 overs to spare and 9 wickets in the shed. Devon Conway, 152 red. Rachin Ravindra, 123 red. A record partnership, 273 red. Henry and Santner also starred with the ball, and England were dreadful. My name is Munter. And we are here, of course, with Lugsy and Jacko. Boys, before we dig into what this means for both sides, I want your visceral thoughts after seeing us pull England's pants down.
My two big thoughts is, geez, Will Young left a few out there. That nearly get strangled. But I think that sort of showed the dominance we had no one getting genuinely dismissed. Obviously, losing the 1 wicket to a wee scratch down the leg side. He'll be gutted, left heaps out there. But I don't think I've ever seen us bat like that in a long time. Just two guys just absolutely rocket it from ball one. We've got the best top order in world cricket currently, and I won't move on that until I see something different. And then my second take is that the Indian cricketing public's got to be on blast. I cannot believe the attendance of that game. You're talking one of the great one-day games, repeat to open the World Cup, and there's about 17 people there. Like, absolute shambles. How has that occurred? You've got to rent the crowd, minimum. You can't have that empty stadium for World Cup game one. Apart from that, New Zealand, outstanding. Just one of the great wins. And I'd love to dive into it earlier, like a bit later, where that ranks in terms of Blackcaps wins all time. But we can dig into that in a bit.
Yeah, first great point on that crowd. It's probably the only sour note out of this great victory. It would have been nice to have sort of 50,000 there in a loud crowd.
Nice to have 10.
Nice to have 50 people, let alone 50 fair. A lot of people will say, winning the first game sort of, a lot like just talking to a pretty girl at the bar. It's nice to do, but it doesn't actually sort of accomplish much. You still go home and you watch Gilwood hunting by yourself. But I'm not about that. I think, you win that first game and you set the tone and you celebrate it. You don't go, a lot of work to do. We're the best team in the world. Give us the cup. We've got a genuine side at the moment, and we'll be taking this World Cup thanks to coming England.
I like how we're just setting ourselves up for a future worst take episode later on, but I like it. I really do like it. Let me rattle off some stats for you guys from this incredible chase. England, only team ever to have 11 batters to have double figures. New Zealand had 0. Second highest partnership in one-day cricket for New Zealand for any wicket. One off the record held by, I think it's Hamish Marshall and Brendan McCullum. So 274, I think is the record. The 4th highest World Cup partnership ever. Ravindra's 100 off 82 is the fastest World Cup 100 for New Zealand. The second is Devon Conway, 83 balls. The fastest ever 250 plus chase in World Cup history in 36.2 overs. Ravindra, 23, the youngest player from New Zealand to pass 3 figures at a World Cup. Astor was 24 when he made a ton in 96. And I've got a couple more. Conway's 152 not out was the 4th highest score on World Cup debut ever. And Conway made the fastest New Zealander to 1,000 one-day international runs at 22. Boys, what's your favourite stat?
That double figures one, that's outstanding. One of the all-time stats. And one of the stats you did forget in there, which I'll just bring up, is 1 from 1, the Maximum Cricket Podcast's results from the punting episode, the tipping for the World Cup. Conway first 100 at 275. So Yeah, worth a re-listen. Tail the boys. We're 100% currently at the World Cup.
We're 100% and we won't be bringing up any other punts in future. We'll just stay 100%.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of one
I'll
for
tell you
one,
what, that
I was just going to say, speaking of one for one, I hate to say I told you so to the selectors, but Rachin Ravindra. Let's talk about him. Up top, that's where he is from now on. He's an opening bat, number 3. Get him away from the bottom order. Kid's a freak.
Yeah, Kane might have to open. I mean, don't change your winning formula, but, not much difference between 2 and 3. So does Kane come back in and open? But no, I think Rachin will be fine. He basically opened in this game and got 100, didn't he? One ball away from being out there. So, yeah, I mean, one of the quicker come-ons in world cricket, I think. 2 weeks ago, we were sort of thinking he might be fighting it out with Chapman for batting 6 or 7 or 8 or bowling a few overs and trying to figure out how to play him. And then, one World Cup game, one warm-up and he's 90-odd and now he's 126. So, yeah, I mean, the talent's always been there and he's grabbed his opportunities and run with them. So, great to see. And as I said, we've got the best top 3 in world cricket now when Kane comes back.
Yeah, it does. It does actually pose an interesting question going forward now, with what they're going to do with him. Unfortunately, Will Young might be the one to miss out because Kane's obviously going to slot straight back in, and maybe Ravindra will go up top. Very exciting. I think one of the big takeaways of that is obviously just how we won and sort of the he's got the real X Factor superstar feel, which I think even with these great New Zealand sides, I think BMAC probably had it a bit. But we are more, even when we're at our best, we are still more working class. But this just feels a bit different, which is very exciting. Feels like we might actually have a genuine superstar for a bit about him. So it's just, going to be very exciting to see what the tournament holds a bit going forward.
100%. And it's not often that a guy gets 150 odd red and people aren't talking about him. But let's not forget Devon Conway. Like I said, 5 one-day hundreds and 22 innings. Best all format, all around the world batsman. In terms of he can play literally every conditions there are in World Cup, in world cricket, and he does the job.
I mean, with a shout, he's had success everywhere. So, South Africa kicking himself probably. He'd look very nice in their sort of top order at the moment. But yeah, happy to have him. And I mean, as you said, he's shown that, at the IPL, consistent runs, in England Test cricket, consistent runs, New Zealand cricket runs, everywhere he's going, he's just scoring runs. So I suppose a blessing and a curse of him sort of coming in later in his career, knows his game well, knows how to adapt to conditions, but means we're not going to get 15 years of the Conway show, unfortunately. But yeah, he'd be close to the best in the world at the moment in all formats and all conditions, as you said.
Yeah, it reminds me a bit of when Michael Hussey came in. Actually, had waited just so long to play, and once he got there, just seemed so hungry for runs. And as we said before, fastest player ever for New Zealand for 1,000 runs. That's not a small sample size now. That's a lot of cricket under your belt, and still to be consistently scoring runs. I talked about it a bit before with sort of the working class nature of a lot of these guys. But I'll tell you what I'm really excited about I think I see it with Mitchell, Phillips, Conway. I mean, I don't want to steal an NBA term that gets overused, but they've got a bit of dog in them, those boys. They look like they've got really up for challenges, those guys. And that's what's making me quite excited about this team. A really good balance of sort of bit of superstarness with Ravindra and class of Kane, and then just a bit of dog with a few of these boys. So Conway to me sort of epitomises that at the moment.
100%. Right, lads. Let's wind back the clock to the bowling effort, because to restrict England to 282 on that pitch, I thought was outstanding considering the side we've gone in. Let's not forget how poor a bowling lineup that looked at on paper. But we were talking after that first few overs, Bolt's first over goes for 12. The ball's not moving around much. I was honestly thinking 450. Like, I don't think I was being outrageous. Like, I just thought England would just put us to the sword with our part-timers. But to restrict them to 282, Matt Henry, he was unbelievable in that opening spell. Like, he looked like, considering how poor Bolt looked in the opening spell, for Henry to just get that ball to move around a bit, and he took 3 for 48 off 10. But Mitchell Santner, there's been a bit of talk about him, how he doesn't take wickets, but I tell you what, he doesn't concede runs. Another stat is he's the first bowler in world cricket since 2018 to not concede a boundary in 10 overs. 2 for 37 off 10 against that England team, who had Chris Wokes batting at 9. They just never really got away. So a massive shout out to that bowling effort, boys.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's what we sort of what the bowling plan was, wasn't it? Of, guys chipping in and keep a team to 300 and figure out how to chase it. We obviously chased it easy as you like, but I think those wickets through the middle were key. I think Hennes took 2 of his wickets in his back 4 overs, which we were a little bit concerned about, sort of with no Lockie, and that was sort of going to fall on Ish, and he didn't play, and some question marks probably creeped in. Like, Ish and Lockie are probably our 2 sort of wicket takers through the middle for this cup, and with both of them out, the boys had to step up, and the part-timers all did a great job. You tell me that Phillips is bowling and taking poles at the first World Cup game in India, I'd probably be a little bit concerned of what the rest of the game looked like, but it fit in well, and they did the job well. And Matt Henry is an exceptional white ball bowler on the world stage, and especially in one-day cricket. I think he gets forgotten a little bit in New Zealand, especially with how good Bolt is, and Santner's there, Lockie bowls express. I think you just sort of forget how handy Hennes can be. So yeah, just a massive job from him and Santner. That stat of no boundaries, that's almost as good as us winning without a batter scoring double figures for me.
Yeah, 2 for 30 off of 10. That's about as old school as it gets. That's what I grew up on. Someone through the middle doing that.
That's sort of Dan Vittori stuff, isn't it? 2 for 35 off 10.
Very, very Dan Vittori-esque that from Santner.
Yeah. He's actually a very fun bowler to watch, Mitchell Santner. He just varies his pace so nicely, gets a bit of drift, and just I don't know. It seems like it could be hittable, but it never gets hit, I guess. Henry obviously up top. I think the last sort of 12 months he's starting to really get his flowers, which is nice to see because he's been consistently good for us for a while now. And then Phillips, very important wickets. I think the best thing we done that whole innings was we just never let it get away. We just took a wicket right when we needed to each time. I thought when Ravindra came on and sort of served up a bit of buffet stuff, I thought, here's where England get away. But 4 balls later, he's got Harry Brook, and it just continued that way. They'd get a wee partnership, but just never get away. And it could have been, honestly, it would have been nice to have them for 250. They actually did all right, England, in the end to get it through to 280. But once we started, it sort of never seemed enough. And yeah, good to see. But yeah, very handy bowling, like as a group there.
Yeah, I mean, you sort of touched on England just not quite getting away. We should probably touch on them because they were dreadful. I mean, I don't want to, let's call a spade a spade. They were, that's one of the worst performances you'll see from a very, very good English side. I think let's not forget that. They are the reigning defending champions, and they did just absolutely destroy us in a one-day series. They had a massive batting lineup, and they just could not quite get the partnership together. No one really sort of took ownership. And I thought like Butler's comments pre the World Cup around Stokes, just saying, we'll just ease our way into the World Cup. And, it's a long tournament. And I just think that they just thought they could ease their way into this game. I just don't think they were fully up for it. It's a pretty bad cliche, but that's sort of what it felt like. They should have dominated our bowling attack. That's not a good New Zealand bowling attack. They've got 3 bowlers and the rest are part-timers. And to not get at least 300 against that attack. And then their bowling attack is, I had that interview with on SENZ, and I sort of touched on their bowling attack not being as Yeah, good plug. Not being as good as the 2019 team, but I didn't think it was that bad, but it was pretty bad. I think they are lacking a real strike bowler up top. Like that's where Archer comes in. A lot of these sides have really good new ball attacks, and I'm not convinced England has. They're definitely not that. Like this isn't. They're a good side. I still picked them to make the final, but it's pretty concerning stuff. What did you guys think?
Yeah, I think this is probably the worst case for England's batting order is that, everyone looks good for 20 odd and then chips out. I mean, a few guys got sort of more than that, but it just felt like, Bearso got a few chipped out. Brooks got a few hits a part-timer straight down the guy's throat after taking him for, 14, 15 off the over and releasing the pressure. So I think it's probably not panic stations yet for England because this is worst case as long as they take some, especially with the stick, the bit of a lesson from this of being like, okay, like, we don't have to play baseball. It doesn't have to be balls to the wall. Like 14 off and overs, fine. I can, work two singles and we've got a bit more time and we can work our way through this. So, yeah, I think that was just sort of worst case for their batting. So if they get that right, I mean, as you said, 450 looked on the cards after, 12, 13 balls. So the talent's there, the power's there. They just need probably just maybe a wake-up call for the batting unit for them. And then, the bowling's right. I think, they've got Wood there, but they probably do need another seamer. Like, I think one-day cricket really just shows that you've got to have 5 or 6 guys that can give you overs. Because if you're just trying to get through and you don't have strike bowlers, you can really struggle. So their spinners probably need to be a lot better, and they do need to find at least a seamer there that's going to go with Wood and take some wickets up top, because that's where Wood's at his best, is if, you couple early wickets and
he's got
new guys are in facing raw pace. So, yeah, and he's just got to be better, full stop, really.
Yeah, I would say their bowling's more of a concern for them. I tend to think with that batting lineup, you got Bairstow, Butler, Stokes to come in, Root, Brooke. I just that'll come right to me. I think the bowling's more of a concern. It is, sometimes hard with these sort of things because I think we did bat so well. Like some of the straight drives in that from Conway and some of the shots from Ravindra. I mean, I'm sorry to all right-handers out there, but a left-hander looking good just looks better, doesn't it? It was just beautiful to watch at times. So their bowling was poor. There's no getting away from it. And that I would say is more their area of concern. But it's hard to know how bad they were with how good we did bat. It just got away from them. Sometimes you get that where the game sort of got away from them and they didn't have any answers, and maybe they review it now and sort of think about things they could do. But on that day, it looked very poor.
Yeah, 100%. Right, to wrap up our World Cup special, we've got a wee segment called The Worst Take. Looking for sponsors if anyone is keen. Didn't quite sort of manage to get one over the line. Had a few contenders.
Strip's not want to come back.
Just didn't offer. Just not enough. The bar is pretty high. If you want to sponsor this show, you better pony up, basically.
I mean, I'll spend about $100 million on alcohol last night. If any alcohol company wants to come at us, that would be superb.
The first worst take, I'm going to give it to the BCCI. I'm going to give it to the BCCI because they've decided for a World Cup to not schedule a home side. And with that, we've got one of the most disgraceful crowds to an opening game of a world tournament ever. We keep talking about Indians love cricket, but I've heard so many excuses about they love Indian cricket. They love IPL cricket. I mean, that was a disgrace to start. I thought this was a warm-up game. I thought it was a bilateral game. Maybe England did as well. I don't know, but that was poor. I don't know why you wouldn't just schedule India for the first game. Optics. How hard is it to do that? Just every other World Cup does it.
When I saw the schedule, I was like, is it like the NFL sometimes does it where like the Super Bowl team plays the opening game and they'll play someone in the opening game. I had to think back and was like, do the last World Cup winners have a rematch to start every World Cup? Is that a thing like that just happens? And like, I just thought maybe that was why, and then just sort of realised like, no, that's never happened before. You normally just go to the home team, and yeah, I mean, it should have been Pakistan, India at that Hyderabad stadium. It's 100,000. Like, how do you not start that as the World Cup, or India, Aussie, or India, someone big? Because yeah, I mean, there's no worse look for any sports tournament ever to, pan to a crowd and it's just a sea of like red empty seats, especially when you've got a tiered stadium and, the bottom tier is only a tenth full maybe. It's just, yeah, I couldn't believe India weren't playing the opening game, and they don't even play for a while either. Like, they're Sunday afternoon, I think. So
that's poor.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest factor is you get India in there because that builds a crowd and that builds excitement for other games, and people get a feel of it and think, oh, okay, I'm going to go catch someone else as well. I mean, every tournament does it. It's how you set the tone. It creates the excitement for the tournament. So simple.
Yeah, very poor, very poor. Righto, let's sign off for today. Thanks for joining us.
That Kane one.
Oh, you want to touch on that Kane? That Kane
take that he has to earn his way back.
Oh yeah. No, there was another sort of worst take contender. Just from a punter online on a Facebook group I sort of follow. Just a lot of like, does Williamson become an automatic selection? Does he get his way back? Does the man who was the player of the 2019 World Cup, does he just get his way back? Does the guy that averages 48 with the stick, he's got the most runs in all formats. He's got the most hundreds. Does he just automatically come back, or do we just drop the guy that got a golden duck? I don't know. Feels pretty.
Can't change your winning side.
What I like is it's surprising that happened on Facebook.
What's that, Lugsy?
Surprising that came out of a Facebook comment because normally it's so sensible in that area. Normally it's always good-hearted comments and reasonable takes. So it's surprising someone suggested something like that.
Yeah. So I think, yeah. So can't change the winning side. That's it. Nisham at 8. Cheers. Righto. If you enjoyed the show, you're probably a Kiwi for one. And second, you might have enjoyed what we do here. Please do like and subscribe to the channel. Plenty of World Cup coverage coming up. Thanks to Lugsy and Jacko, of course. And I'll leave you with one last stat. The first 100 of the 2007 World Cup was Ricky Ponting. Australia won it. The first 100 of the 2011 World Cup was Sehwag. India won it. The first 100 of the 2015 World Cup was Aaron Finch. Australia won it. The first 100 of the 2019 World Cup was Joe Root. England won it. And the first 100 of the 2023 World Cup was Devon Conway. Stay tuned.
So it's us or Africa. Maybe
Africans are celebrating everywhere.
Right, boys. Catch you later.
Catch you.